Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for being so patient. You're the last reading of this absolutely insane period I had, which was then coupled by a time when, as an astrologer, we're not robots. What we're doing here is I want to say there's a lot of pressure to give the person. It's not about money at all, right? Who's trusting you to do their birth chart reading. There's a big responsibility to fulfill it and to be at the best of your abilities. 1 second, I'm pouring some water. Hold on. So I don't know if you've seen my recent Instagram drama that I had, but not really drama, but just basically things got a little bit weird. And I've said it in a lot of videos. I really just don't like to do readings unless I'm like in that really, really high place, or at least in a place where I know I can give the best reading. So I am now. So here we go. A little water, little mountain water. All right. So okay, let's get this going. So over here. Okay, so let's share the screen to start off. Actually, no, I always need to hide your last name. Okay. See, I've been kind of thinking about like, because it's a lot more work for me to put these on YouTube. Like, usually like in the past, I would just, I finish the recording, it's on my computer, I send it in email within, if my internet's like doing pretty good, it can load in like less than 10 minutes. It's already sent, it's gone. With YouTube, I have to let the entire Zoom recording, which can take like up to like sometimes like 90 minutes, honestly. Like if I do a really long one, I've had it take 2 hours before, at least an hour. And then after that, I have to upload it on YouTube. So it's more work for me. I don't know how sustainable it is, but what it does do is it ensures that you're not going to ever lose the reading. I think eventually I'll probably start like asking people like if they have a preference. But like I've had so many people who like lose their readings because I send them to them, and then they either don't save it, or it gets like somehow it gets lost. So on YouTube it's there forever, right? Because I'm not going to lose my YouTube channel. I mean, I don't really do anything that much on there. So anyways, that's where I'm at now. So okay, so let's go ahead and hit the share screen. Is it working? Yes, now it's working. Okay. So I have this nice light blue that I've changed. So really, really, really interesting chart. A lot in common with me. It's a chart that I actually want to pull up one thing really quick. I remembered I wanted to like look at it or have this. Okay, where is it? Okay, there it is. Okay, so I'll say this when we talk about your moon. Yeah, so really interesting post, one that I can relate to a lot. I think we probably talked about this before, but I'm a Pisces sun, you're a Pisces rising. I'm a Sag moon, you're a Sag sun. You're a Scorpio moon, I'm an 8th house sun, and I have like a Scorpio moon in Vedic astrology. And like if you met people who meet me, like I feel like I experience life as a Scorpio. Like it's probably like on a soul level, the sign I probably like relate to the most. So yeah, like, and I have Pluto on the IC. So basically I really relate to the energies of your chart. And then also you have Venus and Mars in Aquarius, and I do also. So like it's literally so much in common. So let's get started here. So beautiful chart. So starting with the Ascendant in Pisces, which makes her chart ruler in modern astrology, Neptune / Jupiter, which interestingly enough, you know, in classical astrology, your chart ruler, you know, which is the planet that rules Pisces, which is your ascendant, which is 15 degrees Pisces, is classically it's Jupiter, but in modern astrology it's Neptune, right? Because Neptune was discovered in modern times. But interestingly, they're both in the same sign, same house, because they use whole sign houses, and it's the 11th house. So that makes you know, it kind of gives like a further emphasis to that area of life, which is like you know, friend groups, associations, you know, long-term goals, like these like very, very ambitious long-term goals that like take a lifetime to fulfill, like very humanitarian energy. And I have a lot of books. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna access some of these. I wanted to like just look at some like, well, I literally opened it to the right one. So okay, so there's one thing I want to find here. Okay, yeah. So the 11th house deals with the release of powers manifesting in and through the 10th house phase of human experience, which is like the dharma, the career, the 10th house. All the energies and faculties concentrated in the 4th house find their expression through the mechanisms developed in the 5th, through procreative and creative activities, through emotional outpourings of self, through risk-taking of all kinds of daring, dramatic gestures in which the person functions as an individual in solitary splendor or as a master of men and conditions. The 5th house is the house of the sun, blah, 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 blah. In the 11th, what is released is not the power of an individual sustained by the foundation of the home or the body over which he or she lords, but the power of society, of the collectivity or the group through the individual, or more exactly through the activities which the individual performs as a participant in the social unit, nation, class, professional group to which he or she belongs. As the individual succeeds in establishing him or herself as a participant in society, so is he or she able subsequently to operate creatively or pleasurably in the social environment his or her work or his or her prestige opens to him slash her. I'm so annoyed with this him slash her, it's written him. The experience they have gained in the 10th house makes it possible for him to either set themselves up for new blah, 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 blah. So basically 11th house, you know, it's very based on coming together and getting in working as a team and finding the right team. So when you have your chart ruler, you know, falling in there, it's ruled like Capricorn. There's a certain level of you know, Neptune there too, of kind of like on one end like this real structure, like really serious, like we're here we're here to achieve goals together. But on the other end with Neptune, that's about like this like endless compassion, right? Like Neptune in 11th house is about like you know, destroying social limitations and traditions. You know, it's about kind of like through whatever group you know, tribe you know, you found, finding one that really matches like your true soul's desires. So it's like it's very, very like maybe like a spiritual team or something like that, right? Where you're able to grow with a group of people, and have like these great goals together. And then with Jupiter there, that's kind of saying in part of fortune also, to what's that sound? Washing machine. It's not really loud. I think these headphones are actually really specialized to where I think that you can't hear any of the outside noise. I just got these, so I'm not positive. So hopefully you don't hear that. So yeah, so basically I'll put this away for now, but yeah, mainly like what I'm seeing from this is just you know, an emphasis on groups and emphasis on friend groups, emphasis on groups, and a real importance to really find the ones that you connect with on a soul level, and then finding this expansion, this learning, this like growth through these. And then, you know, the part of fortune there is basically kind of doubling down on that statement by saying that, you know, you're gonna by taking that kind of leadership role within groups, right? Because as a Pisces ascendant, you're a natural chameleon. You're someone who can just kind of blend in from environment to environment and just kind of like switch up, right? You're very, very mutable. I always do, yeah. Like every Pisces ascendant, it makes someone like a really, really great actor, for example, because you're just able to kind of switch up, and it's not like an inauthentic thing. It's just like it's very useful. It's very diplomatic. It's very chill too. And of course, you know, your ascendant, you know, if you're Pisces, which is such a mystical sign, you're gonna kind of have these beautiful eyes. Typically, you're gonna have like this real mystique to you that's gonna and it's usually I find a Pisces ascendant, a word that I would describe as like cute, you know, innocent, kind of like portraying like this innocence, is this like energy, like why would you ever want to hurt me type energy, right? And then you got that intense Scorpio moon. I hope this noise isn't annoying you. I didn't know this setting was gonna be so loud. So yeah, so a lot of that's channeled into the group energy. And yeah, part of fortune, of course, is just kind of like doubling down on that. I'm gonna go back to my face. I realize that you can't see my face at all when I share, which I really dislike, and I wish I knew how to change that. If anyone, or if you do, or anyone who might watch this, I don't know if anyone does like how watch these readings. I feel like people might watch like a few minutes of them. I think I get like 30, 20 views on these, but I have no idea like if a view is like someone clicking on it and watching 1 minute, or if it's like, you know, people watching the full thing. But I would watch the full thing. I watch the Peace Dealer. I love watching when he is a different astrologer, when he posts his readings. I absolutely adore, especially like not like lately, but like last year or two, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. I loved those. Such a great way to learn, to watch him do his readings. So but yeah, my readings are so crazy the way I do them that like I don't really expect people to necessarily, I mean, yeah, people can learn a lot from this if they watch it, but it's like I switch up my style every single time. I just go with the flow. Sometimes I'll read a lot. But anyways, okay. Back to what I was saying. So Pisces, okay, so what we're looking at here, you know, ruling the first house. There's going to be a certain, you know, vagueness to the personality. Potentially, you might like really be like a mirror for other people, in the sense that like it might, like people might only see what they want to see in you. And you might also kind of in the opposite way, like take on the persona of like whoever you idolize too much. But yeah, like others will see you as selfless, self-sacrificing, inspiring, compassion. But also I really, really like kind of that mirror metaphor, because I think it's just like I feel like you can really like, people can really grow psychologically like by being around you, because you'll mirror a lot of kind of how they are. For example, like it's almost like, it's funny how I say cute, because I saw this baby today, right? I was in like a, I don't want to say like I was kind of in a sad, kind of like depressed mood, but I wasn't really like showing it. Like I was at the mall and stuff, and like this baby just looked at me and completely just like looked at my girlfriend, and she was all happy and smiling, and then like the baby was all smiling and looked at me, and she, like, it was almost like the baby could like see through me, which was like, that's like a perfect example of like a mirror. So that's kind of like what I think Pisces ascends to do. But you know, really have to watch out, because that chameleon energy to be projected on, and to be like to kind of like let someone else's opinion of who you are dictate who you think you are. That's like super, super important. So 1 second, I'm looking for something. Hold on. Okay. So okay. So moving on, you know, with the sun and the moon, of course, sun in Sagittarius conjunct the midheaven is it means that like you know, everything about Sagittarius, which you know is the gypsy, the person who starts off as a gypsy, and then turns into the philosopher, and then turns into the teacher. They're like super freedom seeking. I mean, I don't really like going too far into sun signs. You know your sun sign. Come on. I'm sure you've seen a million horoscopes and posts even on my page, like where I give like, like this is, the 3 words to associate with Sag and blah, blah, blah. So I know you get it. It's all about traveling, learning, traveling physically, like, and experiencing different cultures, or traveling metaphorically. Have to watch out for being like, overly boastful. There can be potential for like kind of narcissism and kind of like pushing your opinion and your philosophies on other people too much. So those are just things you need to watch out for. But the fact that it's conjunct your midheaven, which also, you have this 11th house. This is actually something that's shown in a lot of famous people's charts. I'm just going to tell you, to have like a lot of planets in like the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then also the 9th. Like you have like nearly all of your planets in like a lot of people that are famous will have like, you'll see their charts and they'll have like nearly all their planets like in like three, like one sector of the one quadrant of the, or like, like back to back to back houses, for example. And you have it in 4 houses, and then after that it's like literally just like apps actually nothing. They're all in houses 12, 11, 10, and 9. And then I mean, I guess Chiron is an asteroid, and Black Lilith is not an actual point, and the ascendant is the ascendant. It's the cusp of the first house. So it's very, very interesting. You have this kind of chart. So what I would make of that, 9, 10, 11, 12, well, that's completion. Those are the last four houses, last 4 signs, right? So it's like the journey, the archetypal journey of Sagittarius, 9th house, where your moon is, to the 10th house, which is Capricorn, where your sun is. Your sun's, don't worry about like the fact that your sun is in Sag. You'll see what I'm saying in a second. And then the 11th house, you have planets also as in your chart ruler. Your 2 co-chart rulers are both there, so it's a very important house. And then your 12th house, where you have Venus and Mars. So it's like, which in the 11th house is Aquarius, 12th house is Pisces. So there's some level of like this archetypal journey in your life where you, as a soul, like from like the reincarnation perspective, have ventured, and you're really, really trying to master like this process. And how I would define this process is the 9th house is it's like I go out in the world, and this is where your moon is. So there's an emotional need for this process. I go out in the world and I seek, I search for higher wisdom, whether it's through astrology, whether it's through traveling, whether it's through Buddhism, whether it's through history, whether it's through conversations with people, that had different worldviews. There's a million, anything that challenges you, right? Whether it's through going out and having a few drinks, like Sagittarius is like the party, they like anything that expands them. And going out, for example, and partying, or like meeting people for drinks and having a good time, that can loosen people up, and it's just like one thing. Sagittarius, they like experiencing. It's a fire sign, it likes experiencing. But anyways, so that's kind of like that first step, the 9th house. The 10th house is like, how can I take everything I learned and consolidate it into a career, into a dharma? Not necessarily a career like just a day job, but into like my mission. So it's like, as the human, as the psychological individualistic process. One second, really quickly. Hold up. One second. Okay, so yeah, I was saying, explaining the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, right? Because I decided I'm gonna make a little mini video about this to remind myself. I'm probably not gonna post this, but I want to have this in my mind because I want to research it further later. But yeah, like, so like having like planets like in like the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th house, like this chart, that it talks about the archetypal journey in astrology, right? So like the 9th house is all about finding within us, right? So like we have this individualism process where we start off, we go around the zodiac, right? Once we get past the 6th house, then it starts becoming more about relationships, right? The ones 1 through 6 are more about like ourselves, right? And then it becomes more relational, right? The quadrant 3, third quadrant. You guys, if like you haven't seen my post about the 4 quadrants in astrology, that was around a week ago. And so like, you know, the last one, like so like 9, 10, 11, 12 is like 9 is like finding the like that higher truth, those like life philosophies that one can attach to, right? It's like as a human, you're kind of clueless, like man's search for meaning, right? Like that whole archetype of like how do we find meaning once, and that's the Sagittarius, that's the 9th house, that's the Sagittarius energy, is like going around different cultures, different philosophies, really like open-minded, talking to different people, like trying on different things to figure out like what truth is. And then once you figure out what what truth really means for yourself, taking that and then putting it in the 10th house, which the 10th house is your dharma. It's your, you know, some people might say career. It's like your life's work, right? It's like how you actually take kind of more of like the philosophies and the truths and, you know, the morals, the values, everything that you found from in the 9th house search, and put it into your actual life work of like what you do, of what you're here for, what you stand for, right? And then in the 11th house, it's kind of about how how you find how you take that 10th house to the next level, because 11th house is more social, it's more humanitarian, right? It's more about, you know, these large scale goals that are better done you know, with other people than alone, potentially, right? So it's very group oriented, it's very collectivist, it's very about, you know, oneness and a future of humanity, and finding like, you know, like-minded people to, I guess you could say, work with, or, you know, in some level manifest with. And there's more to the 11th house, right? But because I think of it as a very futuristic house. I think of it as a house that is very eccentric, because it's Aquarius. So it's like I see a lot of people, like clients of mine, who like have a huge 11th house emphasis, and I always feel like these are people who are gonna like be super like integral in this like new tomorrow that hasn't even happened yet, when the world is gonna be completely different. And there's gonna, you know, maybe be, I don't want to say like be some level of tribalism, but, you know, like there'll be like some level of like of kind of having to like create these new structures. Like what just the image just came to mind is like villages in the forest that are like just completely like different than like the cities, the modern day cities, kind of a return to the roots per se. So, but 11th house, yeah, it's like friends and stuff like that. And then the 12th house is like completion. It's like the end of the cycle. It's like the leftover. It's like the some people will say it's like the most, it's the karma house. It's like the you know, it's like the metaphor is like that closet or that drawer that you just stuff all the stuff in. Your room looks clean, but it's because you keep stuffing all your shit into that one little drawer. Your desk looks clean, but you just keep stuffing all your shit into that one little desk. So the 12th house is like kind of going and ending that cycle, ending these karmic cycles. And the best way to do that is, and this totally connects with these other houses, is through service, selfless service to humanity. That's not just serving your best interest, but that's also really, I guess, coming from your heart and really and pushing you towards that greater oneness. So that's kind of how I see that. I just recorded that. I highly doubt I'll post this is a video like on my Instagram, but I wanted to have this on my phone. Okay, anyways, so if this is a video, bye. Back to my reading. So I've never done that before, by the way. But yeah, so you understand this kind of archetypal journey, and that's like very, very like key in your chart, right? So regardless of like what planets are where, we know that's something that's taking place. So with the sun and the moon, you know, sun in Sag, moon in Scorpio, obviously we have someone who, you know, they're back-to-back signs. So it once again goes back to exactly what I was saying, because well, Scorpio is the 8th house, and Sag is the 9th house. So this actually even adds the 8, in your case, the 8th house into this whole equation. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? The 8th house is so that's about going deep within your own unconscious, deep within your own shadow, deep within your own dark emotions, by like investigating, for example, like the taboos of life. This is I just found this book like on one of my shelves, and I'm just like, I love it because it's just so concise. It's called the 12 houses. It's 12 astrological houses. And I was looking before, yeah, just because I love getting little bite-sized things. So the moon 8th house, wait, no, it's moon Scorpio, but it's still very similar. So it's like very sensitive to social undercurrents. I'm trying to like filter out the parts that don't matter. It's also very relationship oriented, like based on that, like the deep soul binding relationships, like the soul coming together. And yeah, I guess it's not really giving me much help. But yeah, so that's Scorpio. It's Scorpio moons. It's a very intense moon placement, and oh, this is what I wanted to read you. Yes, I'm so happy I remembered. It's from Uranian Matt on Instagram. And he wrote literally a post about moon conjunct Pluto, which let's go back to your to sharing the screen so I can show you. And remember, I have no idea how much you know about astrology. You may be an astrologer and know everything. So yeah, you have this beautiful placement, or like this intense placement of moon conjunct Pluto and Scorpio. So Matt he wrote, and I think he has this too. So this moon Scorpio is already very deep, psychic, and intuitive. Pluto here gives more power to the moon, but we have to define power. Is it a positive or a negative power? I'd say both. In the earlier years, like most of the natal placements, we might experience the negative side of this placement, such as uncontrollable psychic powers, pain, intense aura that is found to be intimidating to others, a desire to control others, and mental self-harming, or like psychological self-harming, like kind of like being your own worst enemy. I don't want to say like self-victimization, but just being really fucking hard on yourself, like almost self-abusive on like a psychological level. Like it can be like really, really dark self-talk, for example. So after the soul evolves with these things, which is like what this placement is all about, the positive qualities emerge, which is all about power. Pluto in any placement is in a positive sense represents power. If you can handle and understand this conjunction, this means a huge emotional power. Then you can control your intuition and see the cycle of life better. The moon also represents the mother and woman in our lives. So yes, there might be lots of emotional manipulation, and I swear everyone that has this and you got to follow up. I'm pretty sure. I didn't look at the list, but I'm pretty sure you got to follow up. So and if you didn't, you want to, I think you got one, but definitely bring this up. But yeah, moon, like everyone like has this, like every client I've had that has this, like they always agree with this one. The moon also represents the mother and women in our lives. Yes, there might be lots of emotional manipulation around you, but this placement helps you learn how to deal with them. And what I was going to say about the mother is that usually there's some level of power. There there can be like a power struggle potentially between the mother. Either that or the mother was like very, very powerful, or there's some level of like kind of psychological shadow that that kind of gets like inherited from the mother, either through the relationship or through like the family karma. So yeah, and there can also, like I said, be emotional manipulation. But yeah, you really learn to deal with that kind of like dark energy, right? And like to understand it makes someone like a natural kind of cynic, and someone which can be a bad thing because it can have a lot of difficulty in trusting other people. But like it makes great psychologists. It makes great people that say the esoteric. It makes people great at kind of being able to understand human psychology in the depths and be realistic and not disappointed. Keep your circle small, which is interesting because of your 11th house. We'll talk about that in a sec. So usually on the internet, you might read horrible descriptions of the relationship with the mother for the people who have this placement. What I see most is that these people usually have this is the part I was going to get at. Have overprotective mothers who are afraid to lose their children. See the Hades, Demeter, Persephone myth. This also shows that mothers of these people had a difficult pregnancy with emotional and physical pain, especially until the child's first Saturn return. Mothers can be overly protective. Of course, if the moon, Pluto gets squares and oppositions, you might think of emotional or any kind of abuse or a really horrible relationship with the mother. Let me see like what aspects you have with the moon. Square Venus, so no, not really much. I'm actually going to go ahead and add that so I have all the aspects right there. Perfect. Okay, cool. Okay. So it's still sharing, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so usually around 30 years old, the mother stuff gets kind of healed. Privacy is another theme here. So it's like Scorpio moons are so fucking private. That's just like a thing. Even when you ask what you do in your free time, these people can be reluctant to answer, and some inquisitive strangers give them some hard time. I don't know what the last part meant. But yeah, it's just like very like magnetic emotions, like going from extremes. Like I've written a lot about you know, like there can be like lots of emotional outbursts, and going back and forth from feeling too much to feeling too little, and it's a difficult one, you know. In one quick second. Hold on. Yeah, so it's all about this like deep transformation, right? And it's a karmic kind of push, like impetus towards this like really deep, intense psychic emotional transformation. So that's kind of the karma there. And it's in the 9th house. So this takes place in you know, in relation to your Sagittarius sun, which doubles down on your need for traveling, on your need for experiencing life, right? On your need for taking risks, for finding freedom, for finding truth. There's an emotional need for that. Also, another thing about Moon and Scorpio people is that they have this real emotional need, right? Because the Moon is like, it's like so fucking important. It's like when you really, it's like you can't be happy without following your Moon sign. So it has lots of relationship. And I think you said something in the email. Wait, I need to reread that. I know you said like a really small thing, but I just want to. I think you said something about like wanting about love relationships. Where the hell is it? Computer is so laggy. But yeah, in essence, like Moon and Scorpio people, they need to have people around them, whether it's like their relationship partners or their best friends. Like they're not going to be the people that are like. So this is what's kind of interesting about the back and forth is that like there's one party that's really social, the Sag, there's one part that's really private. So usually Scorpio Moon people don't have that many friends, but they have like a few really good friends. But for you, I'm very curious to know how that is. And I'm gonna go see that email. I really hope this washing machine is not annoying. I hope these are doing their job. Okay. Here we are. Come on, load. Okay, here we are. So you said Special attention on finances and love. Okay, gotcha. Finances and love. So, okay. Definitely can talk. I always talk a lot about love. I don't. I talk about finances as, you know, when it comes up. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. So as I was saying, you know, with the Scorpio Moon in the 9th house conjunct Pluto, there's that transformation. It's meant to take, you know, it's meant to take you places though. So that's kind of the struggle between the sun and moon for you, is like going back between that water, which is very private, very about like, I want to meditate, I want to sit, you know, I want to like kind of stick to myself, kind of be like a recluse potentially. Like Scorpio moons are known for being recluses, super self-sufficient a lot of times. And there can be lots of relationship issues because if they don't have these people who can like really be their rocks, right? And your chart, I observed that you don't really have any earth. You have air. You have, I mean, yeah, you don't have any inner planets. You have Jupiter in Taurus or in Capricorn, but that's kind of a middle planet. You have fire, water, in air, which is me too. I have no earth also. So in relationships, it might really benefit, you know. I don't give like advice like you need this sign, you need that sign or this sign. I talk more about like, it's important for you to have someone who's like your rock, in the sense that you feel like you can be your absolute complete self all the time, all your moods, and not feel judged and not feel like you have to kind of like act differently because they can't handle it or they get triggered or whatever. It has to be a really strong individual. So, you know, sometimes when you're missing an element, like you're missing earth, and the earth signs are Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. So like, you know, you may feel like someone who has, you know, some of those signs maybe is their moon or sun or, you know, even ascendant or Mars. Like, you know, you may feel really grounded, but that's not to say that there's any determinism to like what sun sign you have to look for, right? But earth could really have kind of a grounding effect. But yeah, another thing about the moon in the 9th house is actually lots of famous people have that, because it really brings a high sensitivity to like collective forces. And yeah, it really gives like a keen sense of like the collective kind of zeitgeist kind of values, right? It makes you really open to the world, and you tend to have feelings that vibrate with in sync with the needs of the people, right? So it's quite a nice placement. And you know, obviously Pluto there too is a big deal. And that's kind of, you know, and I'll go further into Pluto later, but that's sort of saying how it doubles down on that intensity. I know I already talked a whole bunch about that conjunction, but yeah, I really like how like your biggest participation in, I guess, like your work of the world, like what you're here to do, should be in terms of understanding human and social relationships and of efforts towards the broadest possible kind of integration. So it tends to bring people like you know, as I said, like in touch with foreign people and really make you interested in global issues. And and I already talked kind of enough about that. So 9th house in Scorpio, you know, and Saturn is there too, and it's conjunct the South Node. So there's lots of been there, done that with this kind of Scorpio energy. Like maybe you like to travel, but like the types of travels you do are like more dramatic, more like investigative. Like maybe it's like you go to like really learn things about like there's more of like a serious kind of like approach to it. And also, of course, because Mars is ruling your 9th house, it's in the 12th house, there's probably some large karmic elements to it. There could also be some issues, you know. 12th house, you know, is obviously a difficult house. So, or it can be. So, you know, having to watch out for like hidden enemies, like when traveling or from foreign places and stuff like that, and run-ins and stuff, and like, and because I feel like the travels, and like I said, they might not be physical, they might be like more metaphoric, like in your like learning different subjects and stuff like that. But it's just like there's a real intensity and a real drive to them. And that leads me next to the fact that you have Saturn conjunct the South Node. South Node's a part of the chart that has to do with past lives. And I'll put my face back on now. So that's really, really interesting because, you know, from my point of view on that one, that's like, okay, South Node conjunct Saturn people, that means that you were really, really, and is in retrograde? No, it's in Scorpio. So like in past life, you're kind of been there, done that in past lives, is like this real, it's conjunct in midheavens over there. It's like this real kind of well-traveled, almost like I want to say like statesman, like powerful person, like authority figure, right? Saturn is the authority figure. It's like the grandfather. So someone who's definitely in Scorpio. So it's someone who's definitely like I think of like politicians, someone who's able to kind of like patriarch kind of energy, right? Not necessarily in a bad way, but someone who has really like done well in, I guess you could say, like the material world. And you know, also South Node, you know, being the planet of karma, South Node conjunct Saturn would indicate that you're definitely bringing into this lifetime a lot of that Saturnian not necessarily karma, but that Saturnian kind of like responsibility and ability to really get the job done at whatever you put your mind to, that you're really kind of putting into whatever your life purpose is. So finding your life purpose is probably something, and you're born in 84, so it's probably something that was super important for you, and maybe like other people didn't really match your intensity for that. So but yeah. So then with the sun, you know, sun, how does that combine? Well, you know, sun and Sag, like it can be the life of the party. It's about learning, it's about growth, it's about freedom, it's about all these different things, you know. You know, I'm a Sag moon, as I said. It's both of them want on some level growth, right? One's more of like a philosophical, one's a psychological, energetic, emotional growth, and one is like this, like expanding itself through like learning stuff, right, and experiencing stuff. So how do those two combine together? I think quite beautifully. Like when you tell the kind of tale of the zodiac, as I said before, when I was going back from house to house. You know, the fact that your sun is conjunct the midheaven is an unbelievable omen. That means that at the time you were born, the moment you were born, the sun was at the exact apex in the sky, meaning that it's in a fire sign already, meaning that you're someone who's going to be blessed with a lot of firepower, and a real kind of sense that you're here to that you're here to really, really accomplish something. And the fact that you have that Saturn South Node energy is kind of doubling down. It's kind of giving you this like innate ability to get it done. With all of this said, you know, like I have to just look at the other side of the chart and see Chiron, you know, down there on the 4th house cusp, in Gemini. So that makes me think that like there were some kind of like childhood pain a little bit, like, you know, maybe it was around, you know, maybe like you had this like really kind of wise, like especially like Saturn South Node, like with all the other stuff I'm saying, Scorpio Moon. Scorpio Moons can be really difficult when you're growing up to have a Scorpio Moon, right? You can have, like I said, these really intense emotions that swing back and forth. And when you don't know about astrology, when you think everyone is just like the same, it can be really, really easy to think like, oh, I'm just different, I'm bad, and get shame about it for feeling things, for being so sensitive, and for potentially being, because usually like with the Scorpio moon, it's like the less good traits of the Scorpio moon come out when younger, right? So that could be a potential. And with that, the Chiron, which is the pain, the spiritual pain, in Gemini, which is like communication and finding your true voice, like the throat chakra, maybe you felt like you weren't able to really speak your truth, and that people maybe thought you were like stupid when you're not at all. And maybe stupid is the wrong word, but maybe you were just really misunderstood intellectually, maybe even within your own family, potentially. I'm not going to put that out there because I don't see like that many, like, let me just double check. I don't see like aspects, like difficult aspects between your sun and your moon, or just like with your sun, your moon, and also I wouldn't see anything that would indicate difficulty with family, at least at this point. And even South Node, Saturn, Saturn can represent the father, so that could indicate like past life karma, heavily emphasized with your father, and how he may play a huge role in your life. But the sun can also represent the least dominant parent. It's not always the father. Classically it is, but it's not always. So yeah, that's really interesting. Sun on the midheaven, just really, really like meant. I mean, I don't want to say there's like because fame is such an annoying word, because it's like it's so lame, but like just really meant to achieve. And with the 11th house being like where the ruled house, with Jupiter, which is like the luck planet there in part of fortune. Once you really tuned into your heart chakra and you found exactly like what that meaning is, like you've done the psychological deep like shadow shadow work, like going into yourself, the death, rebirth, transformation, which is the archetype of that Scorpio moon you have conjunct Pluto. And then you've also done the risk taking kind of like going from place to place, learning all this different stuff. That's the Sagittarius. That's when you start to really understand, okay, this is what I want to do. And then that's when that firepower comes in, and you start to kind of get lucky with the people you meet on your path to finding whatever destiny that is. And speaking of destiny, of course the 9th house, like finding that truth, is a huge part of the destiny, but also Taurus, 27-degree Taurus. In one quick second. Algol is 26 degrees, right? Yeah, 2 degrees. Oh, yeah. So you have North Node and Algol. I don't even know what that means. And it's 2712 to 2610. So it's a degree away with a 2-degree orb. So it's not like right on there, but Algol is like one of the most unfortunate stars. So I'm gonna try to find something of what that might mean to have your North Node conjunct Algol. I mean, would it even be? Because I think when I think of the fixed stars, I think more of like actual luminaries, because the North Node's not an actual point. So hold on, maybe I should just ask my friend really quick. 1 second. Yeah, like okay, look at a list of people that have North Node conjunct Algol. LeBron James, either the best or the second best basketball player ever. Stephen King, Katy Perry, Hillary Clinton. Like, so okay, it says Algol and evolution. So from the mythology of Medusa, we can see her as a mutant. A mutation is a driver of generic evolution. It is no surprise to see the Algol star prominent in the history of the Human Genome Project. Okay, I don't know what the fuck this is saying. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to send him a quick message. My Australian friend. What time is it? Yeah, he's probably up. Okay, 1 second. Yo, dude, I'm in the middle of a reading right now. I don't know if you have time to answer this really quick question. So my client, she has North Node. I'm literally doing the reading right now. She has North Node conjunct Algol. It's like 1 degree away. And I know you were talking about how it's more about luminaries, but I was curious if you think that because I know that you showed me Picasso's chart with Antares, and I was wondering if you had any idea about what that might signify. And also with all your other messages, I'm going to answer those right after I finish this reading. Okay, so we'll see what he says and move on. In the meantime, we'll just say that the third house, I would connect this because Black Moon Lilith is there too, to self-esteem, and finding like that kind of growth, that finding that groundedness within yourself, because in past life there's been a tendency to kind of like attach too much to like external sources of power, right? To like be that politician that connects with this person and with that person. I'm not saying you've always been a politician, by the way. I'm just saying like being a powerful person. And in this life, it's like, how can you, instead of like relying on others, rely on yourself and find this like internal values, like slash, not having, just kind of like not, exactly that, like not having to like rely on others. And also it's about like overcoming a distrust of change, and definitely also about like developing creative outlets, because Taurus is Venus ruled, so Venus ruled North Node in the 12th house, which is probably a difficult part of your chart, because speaking of maybe difficulties with self-love, and also definitely like avoiding to hit out at loved ones. And you might have felt like really deep emotional wounds, and feeling of like being cheated in past lives. And it's like all about learning like the lessons of trusting the process of change, and that will give you like this new sense of peace and stability in this life. And the fact that it's in the third house, that goes back to like that whole communication thing, right? That whole like trusting your own brain, trusting your own intuition, trusting your own like you might be from someone, like so many of us, right? So many of us who are kind of in this world or interested in astrology or in doing astrology or anything similar. A lot of times we're black sheep, a lot of times we're misunderstood, a lot of times there's this really annoying thing where like we're doing all this amazing shit, but other people close to us that we grew up with, or family or friends or whatever, they just don't understand it. So that's one thing also, is like getting past that, and also just like really working on the throat chakra in this lifetime, and learning to connect the heart to the throat. I say, which is like the longest road, right? The longest road is from the heart to the throat, and really getting what's in here out. So that can be done through journaling, through any kind of creative outlet. And I think also like a really, really positive thing for you, like because like when I look at your Venus and your Mars in 12th house, I think being of service, because I think you might like in love, like there can be like the potential to kind of be your own worst enemy. Like you're definitely someone who can sense like the undercurrents of what's going on, like in the collective unconscious, and you just have this real amazing psychic ability. But at the same time, there 12th house, let's see where it would fall here. The 12th house Venus can kind of like make someone fail to kind of see the beauty in the present when they're so consumed with pursuing like the beauty in the future. And like Venus and Aquarius. So you want to talk here? I have that as well, so I know all about this. Like it's very like odd in the sense that it's so unconventional when it comes to matters of the heart. They're the kind of people, Venus and Mars and Aquarius, like there's a little bit of like this genius energy, these placements. But because it's in the 12th house for you, it might like take a lot of spiritual work to get unlocked. And I want to open my books about this. Actually, I have my book right here. Because the 12th house is always one that's it's the most complicated house. So I'm curious what they say about Venus and Mars in 12th. But you know, all in all, it can be so many things. You know, it can be the house of self deprecation. I know people that have Mars in the 12th house who just like continuously screw themselves over because Mars is like action. And so of course it's completely linked to like your North Node in Taurus, right? Which is like finding these values in this inner groundedness within yourself. Because as I was saying before, and I didn't finish the statement, you lack Earth in your chart. So when you lack Earth in your chart, as I said, I do as well, you lack this ability to kind of balance yourself. Like some people who have like lots of Earth, they're almost like naturally balanced. Like they can kind of like wake up day after day and kind of count on being like the same person, at least relatively each day. But it's completely different for people don't have Earth. They can lack actual physical balance. So that could be another thing for you karmically. That can really help you is like doing something like yoga, meditation, something that gets you embodied, right? And gets you feeling that balance. Especially when you have the Scorpio Moon conjunct Pluto, because that is pushing you towards this deep, shadowy transformation. So imagine like your start of life was quite difficult in certain areas, maybe not in all. And yeah, so that's kind of like watching out for like self-sabotage is definitely something that can play out in all areas of life, and it all has to do with like self-love. Let's see what they say here. What Mr. Rudyard says. This is Dane Rudyard, like one of the most famous astrologers, modern astrologers. So Venus in 12th house brings to the fore the desire to orient oneself in relation to collective values. The feelings are largely impersonal and expressed through traditional cultural forms, or may give substance and warmth to the attempt to produce new symbols which will give form to new institutions or new group efforts. The personality has often a great deal of magnetism, but it's being used in relation to super personal or transcendent ideals, or lost in introverted dreams. Okay. And I don't know. These are the kind of descriptions I'm looking for. They're good, but I'm going to say more stuff. So Mars tends to drive personal action from the unconscious depths to the native's nature and energies over which he or she has little control. One may be led by collective social passions or by forceful instincts, as was the English King Henry VIII. He may be a clever handler of social forceps, especially in times of violence and war, or like Conan Doyle, he may use the mysterious motives of human nature as the subjects of his fantasy and do well with it, or the native may take the path of inner conquest and mysticism, as does Meher Baba and Aurobindo Gose. Okay. Yeah. But basically, the best way, like every astrologer says this, and I found it to be true, to overcome kind of like the rough karma with the 12th house is to be of service. It's like literally it's that easy. It's like but it has to come from the heart. And it's not saying like quit your day job and join a nonprofit charity and just like have all your life be about that, because that's not gonna do it, right? It's more about like stepping out of yourself, and that will directly improve your karma. Give yourself a little more tea. So making some matcha. Love this stuff. So I still wanna find this one note somewhere here on my computer. Okay, I think this should be it. No, that's not it. So yeah, and we have to look at these aspects too. Okay, here's what I was looking for. So yeah, big on romance, and you tend to live and breathe your partner once you're hooked. Not the best at defining your boundaries. Okay, that's yeah. See, sometimes as astrologers, we have so much that we forget like keywords. Boundaries. So that is what can be so difficult with Mars and Venus in the 12th house, is defining the boundaries. And as a Scorpio moon, that needs to happen, right? But as a Sag sun, you know, there can be this like I'm down for everything type energy. So yeah. So not the best at defining boundaries where your needs and your partner's needs separate. You can get hurt in love rather easily. You can also feel used quite readily. You're attracted to people from all walks of life. Finding a partner who has an unusual background or quirky personality most attractive, which also is totally in line with the Venus in Aquarius. Partners who mistake your compassion for weaknesses can take advantage of you. Being overly affectionate and trusting often doesn't seem safe to you. You may feel your love won't be appreciated or reciprocated. You may get involved in the secret love affairs or fall in love with the person who's quite unavailable to you at different points in your life. Love and sacrifice often seem to go hand in hand. That's such a huge theme for the 12th house, Venus people. Having to give something up to be with the one you love, or having to relinquish some person or some aspect of an important love relationship. So you value a certain amount of self-sacrifice and a giving attitude in a partner. As you embody these traits, you can be quite mysterious to others, even if you don't mean to be, because your romantic needs are kept hidden. Although you're quite, yeah, it can create like lots of like really like kind of secretive love affairs. Although you're quite naturally drawn to relationships that are unusual, secret, challenging, and unequal, do take the time to examine why this may be the case. Be certain that you are not in some way punishing yourself because you don't feel worthy of an equal and public relationship. Ooh, because Venus represents attraction and the 12th house is associated with the feet, you may be someone that loves feet. Who knows? Anyways, so Venus and Aquarius, you know, like I was saying before, they're attracted to like the unconventional types of people. They're really attracted. You have to like have like an intellectual connection, and if it's not like intellectual connection, it has to be someone who's at least truly, and you'll know because you're very intuitive Scorpio psychic, Scorpio moon, like someone who's really actually curious about understanding you on a deep level, someone who's a really, really good listener, someone who sees the genius in you, who like understands the intellectual kind of parts of you, the depths in you, the things that are super unique. Like you have to feel really seen on an intellectual level. And you'll really, really be attracted to that in other people too. So you'll tend to be attracted to like more unconventional types of people. And you know, one thing I heard about Venus and Aquarius, I thought that was a kind of a good metaphor of it, was like the person who would most likely like date someone who's like handicapped or like in a wheelchair, has like some type of crazy disability where, you know, it would make a physical relationship possible, would be a Venus and Aquarius person, just because they value, just because like they could easily fall in love with that person's mind. So conversation is so important. You know, you value humanitarianism so much. You're really someone who's here for the people. You're also probably very future oriented, very maybe into like inventions and technology. Maybe like the music you like has some type of like futuristic sound to it. And you know, you'll be someone, if you're like a creative who creates in a very unconventional way, that's just like ahead, like you could really be someone that's like ahead of your time. So we definitely probably really resonate with each other a lot in this. I think I should check. Yes, you did get the follow-up. Perfect. So we're gonna have an amazing follow-up, like 100%, because we have so much in common. It's really cool. And that means I can kind of save some stuff for the follow-up as well. Like I realize sometimes like I just go too deep and I talk for 2 hours and it's too long. But yeah, so with Mars there, Mars and Aquarius people, one cool thing about Mars and Aquarius is that like it's just like it's so fucking genius. It's so genius. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like a lot of people will say it, they'll be like, it's kind of hard to understand like what makes a Mars and Aquarius person tick. They're just so into the unconventional. Mars is also really associated with love, so it's going to kind of double down on what I was saying before about like really needing that partner where you know, like for example, okay, let me give you me for an example. How about that? So I've never ever dated someone I've tried like the girls that are supposed to be the good ones, you know, that are like my age and this and that and blah blah blah. Like it just never works. It's always so boring, you know. It's usually the people that have some type of like Uranus aspect in their chart. Like my girlfriend now, she has her sun square Uranus and her Juno is in Aquarius. And every other girlfriend in my life before that has pretty much been in Aquarius, you know. So it's like an energy, it's like having like the Uranus, like the unconventional kind of almost gypsy energy will attract you. Someone who is just has their own philosophies to life and who can also connects to your Sagittarius part and who can also really be a rock for you. So that's like the really big love stuff I see. And also they have to be humanitarian. I have this intuition that you're like an animal person. So that could be important too. And yeah, so then, you know, I didn't really speak much about the fact that you have this psychic potential of being able to like, actually, I'll get to Mercury next. I'll finish Mars first. So Mars and Aquarius, like there can be an ability to like just in the 12th house, like be your worst enemy. So like really like taking your time, not being impulsive in your decisions, which as a fire sign can be difficult. So really like, you know, breathing, not making decisions like on the spot, but also like Mars is like the assertiveness function, right? So it's like people that have like Mars in Aries or Leo or like Sag, like these fire signs, like you know that you're being dominated by someone like that. But Mars in Aquarius, like they are so slick that like they can like be dominating someone, like not physically obviously, but you know what I mean? Like just like dominating someone, like kind of push like dominating the narrative. I don't even know. I'm not trying to like make it sound manipulative, but like if they have to get down to that, they're like I remember a quote was like with a Mars and Aries, like you'll know you're being dominated. With the Mars and Aquarius, you won't know you're being dominated, but you will be getting dominated. I just found that pretty interesting. So yeah, it just makes someone very unpredictable. You're definitely a very like interesting, like go with the flow person in a lot of ways of life. But then you have these really intense emotions. So like that's the thing with you is like how like you might be like very spontaneous, like Sagittarius and you know this Aquarius energy, which can be really spontaneous. But then it's like, to what degree does that spontaneity get you into trouble? So example, I know I'm not saying this is you at all, but like this could be something that would happen with this. So the Sagittarius and all this other part of the chart, the Pisces rising. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this party. I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna go travel. I'm gonna go meet this person. Blah blah blah. Spontaneous action that sounds fun. That sounds like it makes you feel alive. That's what's so important. But then you meet the person. It's all fun, but then they hurt you, right? And like not like physically, like you know, you get hurt, And that's a Scorpio moon because it's so fucking sensitive. So for you, it's like really important to always honor and research more about what does it mean to have Scorpio moon, and even specifically Scorpio moon, like moon conjunct Pluto, you know? But also to know that, you know, your relationships in the 12th house, they're going to be very, very fated. So it's going to be like meant for, even though it's not, this isn't in the 7th house, it's going to be meant for you to kind of like learn about yourself through relationships. Speaking more about relationships, you know, your descendant is in Virgo, so you know you might really be someone who's attracted to one, you know, and it's ruled by Mercury, which I'm getting to next, which is conjunct Uranus. So to these, you know, very genius people who are unconventional, but who are also super fucking grounded and consistent, and that you don't even have to think about, is this person going to cheat on me? Is this person like that, like just like the solid person, like almost like the hidden genius, like the person that like on the surface, like people might like not, like they might feel misunderstood, you know, but you, because you're so psychic and you're so intuitive and you see through the facades, you can tell. So it's about trusting that voice within yourself too. So then, okay, so the Mercury, and we got to get to all the aspects too. Fuck, we're running behind, but don't worry, I'll get to all this. And I've already like talked a lot about most of the outer planets. So the Mercury, you know, that's like how you speak, how you communicate, how you think. It's conjunct your midheaven also. So you know that could be someone who is super fucking like on it when it comes to career. Like they might really you know, with the sun there, you could be like a king, or king / queen, excuse me. Like when it comes to like whatever you're doing career wise, like you could be like a real boss. You know, I see that it's like boss energy, and you know, midheaven in Sagittarius, it means that through your work, you know, you're gonna really want something that's gonna like help you develop more freedom. Like for example, like it could take so many different like stances. Like for example, let's think of like the real estate investor who works their ass off, and then they have all this passive income, and then they're able to like because Mercury is versatile, they're able to like then start painting for full time because that was their full passion, that was that was their deepest passion. But so they have like, so there's this real ability to like be on one hand like the king or king / queen energy, like big boss, but the goal is for you to have freedom to explore yourself and to learn that Sagittarius stuff. And with the Sag, and you do have Mercury retrograde, this actually doubles down on this thought that I think that you know, maybe there was like a struggle early on with you and thinking like maybe like I'm not normal, I don't have like a normal thought process, like kind of being insecure about intelligence, maybe bullied in some way, like for how you talked or how you thought, because you just maybe had like a different learning style. And usually like Sag, but I think it might help you in this case because usually Sagittarius, Mercury are very blunt. They just say shit and they're like, fuck, I said that. And they can be so opinionated. But with the retrograde, it's going to make you like really think more deeply about it, right? But yeah, like you can have like a career in communications, education. You'll really want to share your thoughts and ideas and have that throat chakra speaking, like a preacher or something, you know, like I don't even know. So that's important. And yeah, just Mercury and Sag, you know, they really seek knowledge that expands their worldview. So it really goes well with the rest of your chart. Like the born philosopher, all about seeing the big picture. So any information that helps you see the big picture is great. So debates, and also you'll have extreme, like this is another thing, like you are amazing at giving freedom, but you also need so much space and relate. Okay, this is the relationship talk. Like you need so much space in relationships, but you're also amazing at giving it because you understand that like with your 12th house, that's the other thing. And we'll talk more about the 12th house in our follow-up because like literally there's so fucking much about it. But like you really need to spend time alone. And for people who don't understand that, especially as a Scorpio moon, like as a water moon, you know, you have these really deep emotions that can be so back and forth. And sometimes it's like only like when you allow yourself to have time alone, like you might love your partner, but you might just like not be able to be around them all the time. And a lot of people get really insecure. Oh, you don't like me, you don't want to be around me. No, it's not about that. It's about resetting, you know. So yeah, the fact that Uranus is conjunct your Mercury retrograde in Sag. So you're, like I said, you're going to be more over analytical. Karmically, you come in this life to really like think about like your thought process. Maybe in past lives you thought and spoke too fast and too early, or maybe it was the opposite, right? So in this life, there can be like over analyzing, over ruminating. But with Uranus, the planet, am I still sharing my face? I forgot. Where did it go? Okay, we can go back to here. One sec. For a little bit. So yeah, with Mercury here conjunct Uranus, I mean, that's like Uranus rules the future. So Mercury is the mind. So you can literally be like a prophetic person. Like, I know I've said psychic, but like I would try like just like automatic writing, like the Jungian technique, where you just like get into a meditative state and you just write whatever comes, or just even with talking. Especially since you have all this like this Aquarian energy too, right? You can really get downloads. Also dreams, right? Dreams and meditations, you can get like literal downloads and communication with other realms, like through that. So I want to give you, you want to hear about finances too. Which, remember, we do have a follow-up, so we can definitely like go more into detail and into parts that I didn't talk about that much in this one, but of course I will cover everything. But yeah, so like overall, like, you're gonna have lots of luck with your friends, the people you meet. That's not the difficult part to try. But with love, with like romantic relationships, it's like there's a real need for that. So I think I've kind of illustrated like what kind of person would be like really ideal. But like at the very least, they have to accept you and understand you and be compassionate to you and understand all your moods and the emotional kind of like it would be better if they were also on this like quest for like growth, like deep growth. So like it'd be very, very good to have someone that's very like trying to get to the next level also. And like someone who's very ambitious spiritually and emotionally. But it's not always a necessity, like sometimes like we don't need to have equals. Sometimes it's opposites that attract, sometimes it's like, as long as there's that comprehension on the emotional level and that consistency, that's the most important. And also, like having like the intellectual connection and understanding, like I was saying before, like they don't have to be like I don't really like to talk about my personal life. My girlfriend, for example, like she's not an astrologer. She's way younger than me, which is another thing with Aquarius. Like Venus and Mars, like you might like date people that like people will like other people would be like, it's unconventional, like to date someone 10 years younger than you. But like it's just like Aquarius, Venus, and Mars does not give a fuck about conventions. Oh, another thing about Venus, Aquarius, Mars, it's like they won't care about like social norms, like around like marriage and what you're supposed to do. Like they will like even like sleeping in the same bed, like little things like that. Like they're so original in how kind of they create their life. And just slipped my mind what I was gonna say before I talked about the thing with Aquarius, Mars, and how they might go for like people younger or older. What was I saying? Now I know I'm tired. Okay, it will come back, but I'm gonna bounce back to like the Mercury in Uranus, like that's just like pure like genius, like thinking outside the box energy. So it's like I imagine that maybe you just got shift work because maybe people were just jealous of you when younger, and then maybe you got in really like bad moods for it. And also when it comes like the higher travels, or to out to like far lands, like maybe you like were someone that always like really wanted to, and maybe it wasn't until like after the Saturn return around 30 years old that you actually finally were able to really start this expansion, like whether it's like the external or the internal, like because Saturn is in the 9th house. But I would love to hear if that's the case, because there's other indicators that would say otherwise. Okay. Okay. So Pisces rising, go with the flow person, got that pain around communicating, around, you know, expressing truth, and maybe like fearing that some people will judge you. Let's see if my friend answered. No, unfortunately, he did not answer. He saw it, but he didn't answer. Why is my phone just tripping? Well, I'm sure he will answer. So maybe he doesn't know the answer. So I'll tell you or something if he answers like once I finish this. But yeah, so overall, you know, let's see like what's going on here. So Mercury, you know, we have it square ascendant. I actually spoke about that in one of my series of like difficult aspects. I think it was the second one ago. Let's go take a look at what I said. I had a very good super concise summary. Is it the first, the second of my difficult aspects? Here's the first one, so I know exactly where that is. It's down here. I put a lot of work into my content. I don't know how much of it you read or see, but like on my written posts, like I fucking lately at least, I've been going absolutely. I don't know how many people have been working harder than me. Like not always, just like in the last few weeks. Something's just changed. But okay, I have it here. I think. No, it's not it. Venus, but Venus is okay. Uranus is square right here. Okay. So okay. I'm looking for major difficult aspects. I get okay. So Mars square Saturn. I talked about that one. So that's like the real difference. So you really don't have okay. And you have Moon square Venus. Okay, I totally talked about that one. But basically, like Moon square Venus, like it makes it difficult to so the moon is like your emotions, right? Let me just find this actually. Hold on. Because if I didn't write about this, then I need to make a note about it. So I write about it on my next post. You know how it is. Okay. Okay. Well, whatever. So yeah. So Moon square Venus. Basically makes it so it has an effect on how you're kind of able to express yourself emotionally, and you know obviously it makes relationships difficult because there can be this real struggle to kind of satisfy your need for love and affection, and you know it can kind of be like sometimes like a little bit codependent energy, like your emotional well-being like really depends on like the loyal and regular emotional nourishment, and in this like quest I guess for pleasure, there can sometimes be like the tendency to I guess be a little bit like ignorant to the needs of other people. Now like there can be like this like obsession with that euphoric feeling that comes from, you know, all the pleasure chemicals in the brain. And it can be a little bit of a hedonistic energy. Like some people with this can be like very obsessed relationships where they like measure their own success in life by kind of like how their intimate relationships are going. And they can like just like go through like such great lengths to find romance, like where it's just like it's so fucking important to where like it kind of can create like things like one night stands, affairs, like where they're like almost like desperate energy that ends up like not being a good thing. I know I'm forgetting something. Okay, this is nice right here. So this indicates inner stress and tensions related to your social and intimate relationships. Your emotions are a battleground and tend to feel extremely powerful, and you fear, especially with Scorpio Moon, and your fear of losing control over them may result in repressive behavior through which you tend to avoid relationships that awaken deeper emotional responses. Yet at the same time, you need this emotional involvement in those intense feelings. So there can be like this retreat from commitment that can come because you often refuse to acknowledge the depths of your feelings. Deep-rooted fears begin to rise. Fear of losing freedom, that's a huge thing. So another thing with your chart, with the Sag energy, and like it's this back and forth because there's a huge part of you that like with the Aquarius, Mars, and Venus, if you feel like someone's like being super clingy or like trying to grab onto you like too much, you will just like push away. But then there's this other part, right? Because we're dealing, and I do like astrological counseling. That's like kind of becoming my specialty. And I do like lots of parts work because I like to identify different parts through astrology. So for you, I would imagine that there'd be the one part that's like the Scorpio part, that's like this need for deep intimacy. But then there's like this other part symbolized by like the Sagittarius energy, the Aquarius energy, that's more about like freedom and kind of and almost like if someone gets too close, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So yeah, I talked about the overindulgence potential. Your emotions often blind you to the real feelings of your partners, and in social relationships, you often misinterpret the honesty and sincerity of others. So by analyzing the types of people that attract you and the resulting types of relationships, you can expose your hidden needs and behavior patterns and become aware of the unconscious traits which shape your choices. At some stages in your life, you may need to withdraw a little to gain these perspectives, especially when you are trapped in a repetitive world of failed relationships. Your needs are still urgent and pressing, but transforming your attitudes through self-understanding is so important. Making the right choice, this is the last paragraph of this, and I'm reading this one for a reason because I have this feeling it's super important for you. Making the right, especially because we're dealing with a 12th house Venus, right? So making the right choice of your partner is extremely important and a key to relationship success. But the art of choosing a suitable partner depends on self-knowledge. Your early choices are likely to be unwise, right? They might be going more for ego, more for what you want than for what you need. And any early partnership will probably run into troubled waters due to your inner confusion and unresolved issues. New perspectives on yourself and your needs may be achieved through a transformative period of relative isolation from relationships, which the Scorpio Moon knows that very well, allowing a pause to dissolve patterns through greater understanding. This can enable insight, emotional maturity, and greater independence. And I think, Scorpio Moon people, like they have this tendency to kind of like they can totally be the recluse. So, I mean, I don't think that there's much of like a fear of like they'll go in periods after relationships, like if one ends, of just like being alone. I mean, I think that's a tendency. Okay, So then I totally did. So then the other one you have that's really, really important is Mars square Saturn. And I did write about that one. I love that I can access my thing. So this is a frustrating aspect where one's willpower, which is Mars, tends to meet consistent setbacks. You're trying to grind it out on your path to success and keep getting held back by karmic challenges. Many times there was a lot of criticism growing up that can create a blockade in self-expression. Setbacks as you chase your desires in sex, sports, or work will reinforce the feelings inside that life is too hard and that you don't deserve the good things that others have. In the long run, it gets easier after the Saturn return at 30 years old or 29 and a half. It can become a superpower. Many celebrities and super successful people have this aspect. So it's like, it kind of like earlier in life, yeah, it just like makes it more difficult to kind of like go towards your like your big goals, and it can have a real effect on your assertiveness function. But then you grind it out, and then those setback energies go away, and you're like, oh shit, I still have the superpower, but I don't have any of these setbacks. The setbacks aren't there anymore. Okay. Let's see. So your second house, talking about money, like ruled by Aries, which is in the 12th house. Let's actually go over here. So that can also be, so your North Node is in Taurus. So I would say that like on some level, you're meant to really like, Taurus is like you're like, if you're too obsessed with finances, like to like where that, like that's your saving grace, that's like what it is, you're gonna feel like lots of ups and downs and lots of insecurity in that area of life. But if you're able to like find the internal values, like how I was talking about before, and subscribe to those more, and just trust God, trust the universe, all these things, that's when you can really win. But there can be definitely self-defeating patterns when it comes to spending and well, I would say with that square Saturn, or excuse me, Mars square Saturn, that would actually kind of have an opposite effect actually. So there might be part of you that's kind of like self-undoing in the area of life related to spending and to money and all that. But then there's this other part that's more conservative. And then you do have, Jupiter in the 11th house, which is very, very, very good for wealth. Because like I said, 11th house is like abundance. So, yeah, and also it can give you like this real ability to like inspire large groups of people. And it's in Capricorn, which is literally Jupiter in Capricorn. So this is really good for money and for success, because Jupiter, whatever sign Jupiter's in, it makes it bigger, and Capricorn is literally the fucking builder. So I see this in you, and especially with the midheaven sun, like, yeah, this is the chart of a successful person, but one that has to learn karmic lessons around not being their worst enemy and really looking. So if you've done, and if this resonates, then maybe it's a sign that like you might consider like doing some type of counseling. Like I would if it resonates, right? If it's an issue you're dealing with, and the reason why is that the astrological counseling can really get to the bottom of this, and identify like the karmic cycles, because we can kind of like spend more time diving deep into like the root causes of this, and get some, just the more we talk about it, the more the better idea the psychologist has of the cycle, and like being able to compare experience and all the things that I might hear in a potential session with what I see in the chart. That's the beauty of astrological counseling, because it just deepens each session. It just deepens, like a one session astrology is amazing, but when you're able to deepen it each time, it gets even better and cements even more. But yeah, so that's kind of like, yeah, Mars, second house Mars, it's like you definitely, I don't know, I'm curious, like if there is this like really spontaneous, especially with the other energy in your chart, way of spending money. But also I would imagine there'd be this real kind of go-getter attitude towards it also. Mars ruled second house. And then the Pisces rising, I think it's just going to help anyone in business. And then the fact that you have this like moon in Scorpio, you know, that's going to give you this like ability to see through people and to know who you can trust. And then also Mercury conjunct Uranus, like you might like if you're, for example, if that's like amazing for someone like doing like investing or like trying like where it's like meant to kind of like predict the future, like where you're meant to do that. Let me look at something really quick. How long is this so far? I'm afraid to see. Wow, it's gonna be another 100-minute one. I don't care. I don't do this for money. I do this for love. So yeah, just like more about Mercury in Uranus, it gives a brilliant mind, an eccentric genius. Ideas come thick and fast out of nowhere, aided by a keen intuition and sometimes psychic abilities. Flashes of insight are processed at lightning speed with abstract reasoning. So it gives you this really, really fast mind, but it's super eccentric. So it's like, it makes me think that like that also like kind of like, I may have already said this, that also might kind of have played into whatever this this energy is of like the kind of like the pain that may have come earlier in life. Excuse me. I'm just opening something up really quick. Hey, FedEx. Second cat brought me his ball. Is it literally? My cat's been like a dog in past lives, according to the psychic I use, and he literally brings me this ball. Well, it's actually my girlfriend's cat, and I just got to see him for the first time in 8 months because we broke up for 8 months, and now we're back together. And he's here now. I'll give you a little break to just show you the cuteness. Felix, this little ball, and he brings it to me. I throw it down the stairs, and he runs. Pretty amazing. Okay, so back to what I was saying, and we're really close to being finished here. Like I see lots of aspects in your chart of extreme power, and I would not say this like I would just find it extremely hard to imagine you having like problems with money unless you attach yourself too much to it energetically. Another thing is the manifestation. That's the other thing with the Mercury Uranus. You are a man, like you're someone that can fucking manifest, but you can be your worst enemy with the 12th house. So this has been a really, really deep reading. I feel very, very good about this. I'm going to go through the aspects one last time and see if there's anything I missed. Yeah, you know, Mars sextile Sun. That's just going to give more. Mars square the nodes. Ooh, okay. So now we have some more energy there. So that to me is saying that in past life there's a skip step either around doing too much or not doing enough, being too assertive or not being assertive enough. And judging by the rest of it, you know, the fact that Saturn is conjunct your south node, I would say it's probably like, you know, maybe, how do I say this? This is when I need my texts. Yo, oh my God, did I just literally open it up? I literally opened up to the right page. That's a sign. So when Mars squares the nodes, the nature of the unresolved past life material pertains to the nature of desire and the instinctual will. The range of possibility here includes unresolved anger, unresolved sexual feelings, and physical or sexual violence. Anger with or from others could be threatening to stability, just as hidden anger could also be at play. its passive toxicity being part of the problem. This can signify situations whereby the will has been co-opted in some fashion and the person is overly compliant or lost. We could also see a situation in which excessive dominance has distorted the soul's original intention. This placement can also indicate an unmet need for independence. That's what I really got. Which can then be a source of suppressed anger. Oof. Actually, I need my plug in my battery. It's about to die. That would not be good. That would be a tragedy. Okay. So where was I? So this placement can indicate an unmet need for independence, which can then be a source of suppressed anger. But the unmet need can also express as a source of paradox in relationships, whereby the freedom to grow with another is desired, but a subconscious fear of entrapment, I literally already said that, prevents this need being fulfilled meaningfully. Beauty of astrology. Damn, that was crazy. So yeah, like that's interesting stuff. So Jupiter and Capricorn, that's just like boss energy. You know, you're going to be very, very respected in whatever you do, whatever groups you join. It's important to work together in a group. It's important not to be fooled and to be disillusioned by a group that association group that you work with. That's Neptune there also. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, and I have to look at the fixed stars too. Balls back. Okay, so let's look at the nodes. Okay, so this, that's good, that's good. You also have Neptune conjunct the sun, different signs though, but like that's just gonna add like a whole, that's just gonna even like double down once again on that psychic ability, that imagination, that otherworldliness you have, that connection to the hidden realms that you have. Okay. Definitely like, okay, midheaven, like sextile Mars, that's more of like super strong energy for career. Like I said, the ability to have like multiple careers and really like smart money making schemes. And I'll talk about the vertex and all the in part of and all these Black Moon Lilith. I guess I should say something about Black Moon Lilith before I end. But let's just see the aspects of the nodes. I said square this, conjunct that, and opposite Chiron. So, okay. Okay, so the last thing I'll talk about is Black Moon Lilith. That's kind of like and this goes along with something I already said before. It's like the dark part of your personality. And in essence, it's like not a planet, but it's like if you kind of like go to your lowest vibe, that's what comes out. And I think, you know, in the third house in Taurus, it has to do with like the throat chakra again, I guess you could say. Like, but all, like your words being very hard, like the potential for your words being very harsh, like where you say something because your communication style is so different that gets misconstrued. That's like one part of it. And with the Scorpio moon, right? So with the Scorpio moon, like the darker, and this is actually opposite your moon. So this is totally related to your Scorpio moon. So with the Scorpio moon, things can really bubble up, and you know exactly how to fucking say something that will hurt someone. So what this is saying to me is that you might like like at your lowest, there might be like allowing things to bubble up, and then boom, things come out, and you just like can really have cruel words that can really hurt people deep, and they're true. It's the truth, because the truth hurts so much, right? So if not careful, you can indulge in like, you know, like the negative traits associated with the third house also, which is like whining, nagging, arguing, criticizing. But like I said, this is just a potential. It's all about getting to the heart of your authentic self. So in Taurus, that typically Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, I think of that as like just like being like against change, but I don't see that playing out like with the rest of your chart with all the Sagittarius energy. But with respect to your Scorpio Moon, I think, which is what it's talking about, I see it as like more being afraid of like the deep emotional change and emotional transformation that's really, really needed, and kind of like sticking and being stubborn, like stubborn refusal to move out of the comfort zone, which is like literally like such an important part of your life and so fucking needed. So that is how I see that. Oh, last thing I forgot to add to the love stuff, Juno, the asteroid of love, and like kind of like what we look for, and the vertex too. The vertex is kind of like a second ascendant, like how we appear to others, and it's in Virgo, so it's like in love, you know, you'll appear to be like responsible, kind of like maybe your love language is like actions and like kind of like what you do for other people. I know that's what mine is. And you know, the doorway to higher awareness is through relationships, and like just like lots of destined relationships in your life. And really, you know, overall, like I said, with the Ascendant, you know, learning about yourself through relationships, and yeah, and then Virgo, it's like it's about how like you will feel like you're really destined to help heal the world, and also heal yourself as well. And yeah, Virgo is a sign of magic, so it's like the magic of earth. So like you can really get into like earth magic, like rituals, stuff like that, like Druid, Wicca, that kind of energy. And like I said this before, there can be like a destiny connected to animals and to some birds. So animals can really have a karmic impetus, and then your anti-vertex, which is very interesting, is me. I'm literally your anti-vertex, which is literally like in times of needs, you'll be drawn to people that are in Pisces. And it's 23 Pisces, I'm 28 Pisces sun, so that's really interesting. So you'll be drawn to people with Pisces energy, who have like lots of compassion, spiritual insights that will really motivate you to find practical answers and healing modalities to like your life dilemmas. Okay, and then finally Juno in Libra. You know, here we're talking about like how in your deepest like partners, like what you look for is someone who like you're looking for a relationship that's eighth housey, so like that's like that deep depth rebirth transformation in the relationships, where there is that intensity, there is that agreement, that person who's ready to actually really change and go deep. And then Libra, it's like fairness. It's like really wanting a partner who considers you as an equal, which I know sounds so obvious, but like it's like relationships are really like there's lots of power struggles in a lot of relationships. And when you have like what you have in your chart with the Scorpio, it's like it can actually create lots of power struggles in relationships. So that's important. Also, peace and harmony are super vital. And like if those don't exist, it can really turn you off. And that kind of goes back to like wanting that consistent person. So yeah, like really wanting emotional intensity in relationships. It's also very like exploring sexual intimacy, even like the more taboo parts of it. So yeah, so that's the reading. I just want to go over. I said talk about that. I guess really quickly, one other thing about 10th house Uranus is that you know, it's gonna make you probably pretty unconventional in your career choice. So I just want to throw that out there. and you'll really want to beat to the beat of your own drum in that. And once again, like really, really want freedom in that. Yeah, but like you're really going to want to contribute to society through what you do. And you may also, like I said before, like feel restless within one profession, which is like shown in many parts of your chart. And you might like have these periods where you like feel restless and you're like, I need to make a complete change with my life, but you have the firepower to do it. So yeah, and then, you know, with Neptune in 11th house, like just, I said that before, searching for spiritual and humanitarian friendships. You may escape from reality through groups of people, and you have the ability to be of service to friends and within groups and to humanity as a whole. All right, I look forward to speaking. Reach out to me. Reach out to me when you're ready to hear, or to it's late, to schedule this follow-up. It's been a pleasure. 151. So I'm gonna get this load onto YouTube right now. And as always, I mean, I doubt anyone's gonna like really watch the full thing. I'm gonna start saying this at the end of all my readings. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. If you prefer that I make it a private, or I guess an unlisted video that doesn't that no one else can see, that's totally your right. What was I gonna say? The thing is, when it's unlisted, I think only you can watch it, or like you have to have the link to watch it. It's, I don't know. So yeah, I hid your name and everything. So but it's still, you know, I still respect. I know you're a Scorpio moon, so Scorpio moons are very big on privacy, and just let me know. It's not a big deal to me. So, and I just wanted to double check. Yeah, I did delete your name. Cool. Anyways, thanks so much, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye from Romania.